Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will present the Union Budget tomorrow in the Lok Sabha. This will be the first budget of the new Modi government, which has been elected to power for a third consecutive term, but with a much reduced majority compared to what it had in 2014 and 2019. Now, of course, tomorrow, when the budget is presented, economists, economic commentators will speak at length about what the budget means, the budget 24-25 for the economy, what are the major takeaways from that, what kind of messaging is the government trying to give with regards to the concerns people have raised, whether from the opposition or common citizens or economists with regard to the economy. All those things at length will be discussed. But there's another crucial aspect of the budget that requires a very careful analysis, which of course we'll bring to you tomorrow once the budget is presented. But what exactly is that aspect? There will, of course, be a very important element to the budget, which would be the political takeaways. Aside from whatever the economists and the economic commentators say about the budget and how it impacts the economy or it would impact the economy, there is going to be a lot of analysis of what the budget means in terms of politics. What are the political takeaways? Of course, we'll bring all that to you tomorrow once the budget is presented. But why is this aspect of the budget important? Over the last 10 years, we've seen that the Modi government, whenever it's attacked on various issues, it brazens out that controversy, whether it is rising prices, inflation, food price inflation, whether it is unemployment, the Agniveer scheme, the issue of special status or special packages, whether it is for Andhra Pradesh or for Bihar, all of these issues, the Modi government never admits that there are areas of concern with regard to their policies, with regard to how they've been running the economy. But the indications of where the government, without saying so, acknowledges that there are concerns, that is an indication that one gets from the budget. Or the other aspect is the union cabinet. Now, the interesting thing is, you've all seen how the 2024 Lok Sabha election, the opposition, the India Alliance, pivoted the entire campaign around economic issues which one could call livelihood, bread and butter issues, which all tied up nicely with the big question of the Modi government's handling of the economy. The two main concerns that the opposition raised were unemployment and the government's inability over the last 10 years to address it, and rising food price inflation. What is it in the budget that would address these two concerns, if at all it does? I mentioned how the union cabinet, as and when it is revamped, rejigged, gives some indications of how the government wants to move forward, whether it acknowledges failure of certain ministers, of how they've been running their respective departments, their ministries. The new cabinet that Mr. Narendra Modi formed after becoming Prime Minister for a third time gave a very strong message of defiance, of status quo, of continuity. There were a lot of speculations before the cabinet was formed on whether Mr. Amit Shah would be given the Home Ministry, whether Sitaram will continue as the Finance Minister, whether more of the allies will be adjusted in key portfolios or big portfolios. None of that really happened, and the message that came across from the cabinet formation was one of defiance, of continuity, of, in a sense, telling the people, telling the voters, telling the opposition that what we've done over the last 10 years is absolutely perfect. It does not need any change. And that is the path that we're going to continue on over the next 5 years. Whether the union budget also comes with that kind of an impression, we'll have to wait and see. Remember, there are crucial state elections that are due over the next 6 months to a year. You have the state of Bihar going to polls next year. This year end, you have Maharashtra, you have Haryana. Maharashtra is important. It's a big state. The BJP has not performed very well in the state this time around in the Lok Sabha elections. Neither has its allies performed well. And it's a state where you have, of course, Bombay, the finance capital, the financial capital of the country, but also a state that is very important with regards to agriculture. You have Haryana, another very important agrarian state where the BJP has not been on a very strong wicket over the last few years. And in the Lok Sabha elections too, out of the 10 seats in the state, the BJP won 5, the Congress won 5. What is the message that the BJP wants to give to the farmers of Haryana or to the farmers of Maharashtra or to the agriculture allied services in the two states? You have Jharkhand going to polls also at the end of the year. Another state where you have issues of the tribal versus non-tribal narrative. You have issues of mineral utilization, backwardness, all of that. Today, first day of the budget session, the government outrightly rejected the JDU's demand. The JDU, remember, is a very key ally this time of the government. They are part of the coalition. There was a question put by a JDU member of parliament in the Lok Sabha regarding a key demand of JDU and also a demand of the India Alliance to give a special package and a special state status to Bihar. And that demand was outrightly rejected by the government in the Lok Sabha today. So while one can assume that the budget may not have a special package for Bihar, clearly the BJP, which is a party that always puts its electoral needs and its electoral calculations ahead of any other consideration, would have factored this in, that rejecting this demand from Bihar is going to have political and electoral repercussions. So to offset that, is there something in the budget that the BJP will come up with? Are there any district-specific sort of SOPs or schemes or any new fund that the BJP plans to create? All those indications will come from the budget tomorrow. So clearly, this is going to be a very, very political budget. It's not just going to be about the economy. Of course, that is going to be that will take the front seat. When Ms. Sitaraman starts reading out the budget speech, but the political messaging of it will be just as crucial, and it will also give us a fair sense of how the BJP sees its performance in the Lok Sabha election, whether there are lessons that the BJP has learned from the Lok Sabha performance. Remember, the BJP does not have an absolute majority this time, unlike 2014 and 2019. It is well below the majority mark at 240 seats. And so there have been concerns, raised within the party platform of how the government's arrogance and its refusal to acknowledge ground realities cost the BJP those seats. To offset that damage, are there any moves that the BJP, that the finance minister will make in the budget? All of that we'll bring to you tomorrow once the budget is presented, but do keep an eye out for the political messages in the budget that Ms. Sitaraman is going to present in the Lok Sabha tomorrow.